I'm Ollie. I'm an Obtainium engineer and jack of all trades. And I'm here at the Friars Forest Research and Development Workshop converting Cellar Dairy's 1968 Toyota Stout to electric. Gus is just having a little look at the BYD BMS board that had the fault, and obviously the fuse is blown in there as well. But yeah, Tan from BYD is going to come and replace that. But it's pretty interesting to have a look at the construction of the circuitry and to understand a little bit what's blown. So yeah, and I think that might be Adrian arriving. So that's pretty cool. Exciting to have both you guys here, and pretty keen to start to have a look at whether my wiring's all skew if or. So Gus is just in the cab of the 68 Toyota Stout that we're converting to electric. We had a few issues the last couple of days, so Central Vic EV group lads are on site. Thanks very much for coming, Gus. Thanks for coming, Adrian. We've just been discussing what could be the issues that caused the fuses to blow.
I got 5k from both the red wire and the black wire to the earth wire. Can somebody press the accelerator pedal down? And now that's heading down to 0 ohms there. Isn't that backwards? I think that's backwards.
Where you're measuring from 5 volts or from?
I was measuring from the shielding cable, which is the low side, ground side, to the wiper. And I've got the highest resistance when you're off the pedal and the lowest resistance when it's on the floor. That's backwards.
That's backwards.
I got it backwards.
Maybe, yeah. So I probably saw brake and maximum go at the same time when you were off the pedal, which might have confused it a lot.
Except for the fact it sat there in...
Maybe because the brake...
Oh, and then when the brake switch came off...
Opened, it's like, go, 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 go. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. So that's... Okay, so we can just wire it up backwards from there, and it should go.
Righto, so we'll connect up the fuses now.
64 volts showing on the Victron display again.
This pre-charge will come on when I turn this on.
Yep. Should you check the voltage across the motor controller to make sure it's got the pre-charge voltage there?
Which it hasn't.
How can you tell?
Because there's no light on the controller. Well, that's odd. Nothing across the motor controller at this stage. That's hot. That's really hot.
Size?
470 ohm. 470 ohm. Yeah, I'm going to turn that off. So
What voltage are you going across the page? The resistance?
64 volts. It's not coming up. Suggests there's a short on this side.
That's the resistor. Oh.
Yeah, this is the resistance across those two terminals of the contactor.
It suggests there's a dead short in the motor controller, doesn't it?
Yeah, it suggests it's not charging up. Right.
So there could be a short in under maybe the FETs or something had shorted.
This capacitance is shorted. Last week we had a little look at the controller and where the tabs on these FETs were connected, and they're complementary pairs. And last week half of these were connected to the low side and half of the tabs were connected to the high side, and now on the high side there's something shorted across this thing.
So basically, whatever I did, cooked it.
Would seem that way.
Wow, well that's damn. Not quite sure what to do now. I guess we'll have a bit of a think. Maybe have a bit more of a closer look on what's failed on the board, but yeah. We now have a blown motor controller and blown batteries. So fuses blown in the batteries and a diode blown on the battery management system board. The Australian importer for the BYD batteries are considering those early boards faulty, and they're ordering the parts and going to get them fixed. I'm keen to get into the cab, finish any welding that's needed, because I want to get that out of the way before any more electronics is in there. It really should have been done earlier. And then get the dash back in. So I reckon welding, get the dash back in, and then fiddle around with adjusting our pre-charge, our contactor engagement. All a little frustrating, but I guess it's part of the learning process. So once again, thanks so much to Adrian for coming all the way up here again and bringing tools and equipment and lending things. Really appreciate that, Adrian. And thanks, Gus, for having your head in there and taking the motor controller home and working on it, and yeah, really appreciate that. We're going to get into that welding in the cab, see whether we can't feel a little satisfied by getting some mechanical stuff done where my electrical knowledge isn't up to scratch. Let's go do that. I've just been doing a bit of basic welding in here, and down here on the floor I've just been grinding out some really bad rust and checking it from the bottom. It's horrible. This would have a lot of trouble getting back on the road. I'm just going to make this strong enough to keep doing its duty in the paddock and make up a plate to kind of reinforce through that area that's just rotting out there. Here's my Franken patch. It's just about a structural patch and to stop all the mud flying in through that hole. Look what I found under the seat of the 68 Toyota Stout. That be one hell of a rat's nest. Great way to destroy a car, have rats actually living in it. Well, it's I don't know what day it is. It's the day after yesterday. We have a blown motor controller and damaged circuitry in the batteries. The actual cells are okay, but thanks very much, Gus, for going and taking and have the motor controller away, desoldering the FETs and confirming that the rest of the board powers up. So it's the FETs that are blown. Super appreciative to all the chat going back and forward on the local EV group. You guys are amazing, and I'm learning so much having the input to be able to go, what actually went wrong in that situation and what can we do to fix that up. We've figured out that we need to put some diode protection across the contactor. We've ordered some hefty 1000 volt 6 amp diodes. So we've got some components on the way to help alleviate that situation, that if the contactor does go open while we're driving, that we don't have a voltage spike that damages stuff. And we've got components to repair the motor controller. And somewhere in the post, no tracking, so we don't know where, there's a big boy motor controller coming from the same company, but we're not quite sure when they're going to turn up. So really grateful that Gus is repairing this one. We'll see, hopefully once the FETs get here, hopefully that all powers up okay. And thanks, Adrian, for lending us a little 1 kilowatt permanent magnet DC motor. That's going to go, that's at Gus's, and the cat's chasing the chooks. Petty Chomsky, come on, mate. Leave the chooks alone. It's witching hour. It says late afternoon. The cat's going crazy. But, cat, what are you doing? Crazy cat. Anyway, we've been working on some other stuff that we can get on with. Some body work in the cab. I've put patches in there that achieve what I want, which is just structural integrity. We've done a structural patch on the bottom left corner where the whole floor was rotting out. Pretty happy with that. The battery technician from Alps Power is waiting on the parts to come in for repairing the batteries, and he's pretty excited from his text messages, pretty excited to come up and see the project. Yeah, and appreciate you going out of your way, Tan, to help us get these batteries fixed up. So, thanks very much. It's day 28. We've got Tan from Alps Power coming this morning to repair the damage in the BYD Flex units. Yeah, so that's been considered a warranty issue by Alps Power. The battery shouldn't do that. And yeah, speaking to some other colleagues who've stress tested the previous generation pretty hard, it wasn't normal behaviour. Damaging components on the BMS board, usually the FETs will shut things down. Hopefully we can start to do some tests again soon. We've got some surge suppression diodes, like rectifier diodes that are going to be used for surge suppression should something happen again. So I've been advised that that would help mitigate this situation. Look forward to meeting Tan, and we'll probably catch you then when he's arrived. I'm just here with Tan, and he's just changing over the BMS board and the fuse on the BYD Flex unit. Come all the way up from Melbourne, and parts came in really quick because Tan was able to order it late on the Friday night. Thank you very much for doing that. Yeah, really appreciate it.
One part of my work.
No, really good. Both you and Jay at Alps Power have been really good, and yeah, no, thanks for coming out quickly and getting this sorted. So keen to get this back up and running. Yeah, so a little bit of an adventure. Google sends people the wrong way here, so poor old Tan got sent down some pretty horrendously rough tracks, but still got a smile on his face, and he's here now, safe and sound. So
yeah, thanks for picking me up.
But yeah, get the batteries fixed back up, and Gus has been repairing the FETs on the motor controller